You want some football today? Well, TSN has you covered for the next 9 hours. We kick things off in the nation's capital as the REDBLACKS and Argos both try to snap 3-game losing skids.
Fajardo, Evans, touchdown. The Rough Riders cash in.
It's a rematch and battle for first place as the scene shifts to Winnipeg, and the Bombers try to avenge last week's loss to the Riders.
It looks for Bingleton. Touchdown. A beauty grab.
While the Battle of Alberta moves to Edmonton as the Eskimos and Stampeders try to keep pace in that highly competitive West. It's a super Saturday of football. The CFL on TSN is the place to be all day today, and it starts now. It's football day on TSN, and it starts with Family Day in Ottawa. Grab a snack, grab a comfortable place to sit and get ready to watch a whole lot of football here on TSN, beginning with a big one in the East for the Ottawa REDBLACKS and the Toronto Argonauts. Oh, the little brisket's looking good, don't you think, Coach Benny? Milt,
Give me some.
I'll take yours.
Shut up,
oh, we're off to a great start, aren't we?
Shut up, bro.
Marathon Day, 9 hours straight of football here in the CFL and TSN. Rod Smith, Henry Burris, Mike Benavides, and Milt Stiegel as well. Let's get it started. One team needs to win, Ottawa. One team needs to win even more, the Argos. REDBLACKS going with Jonathan Jennings at quarterback again, coming off the bench a couple of weeks ago for Dominic Davis.
Both these teams are hungry, I can promise you that. But Jonathan Jennings and Joe Powell, they've had 2 weeks to work. And, of course, Jonathan Jennings just welcomed a brand-new newborn to the family.
Wow.
So hopefully, for those Toronto Raptor fans, if he can have some Fred VanVleet type of fallback, knowing he's got to feed one more mouth. But he loves throwing the deep ball. Joe Powell loves calling up the deep plays. Hopefully this will work out for the REDBLACKS today.
Well, I want to talk playoffs. We're talking playoffs right now. Yes, we're talking playoffs. This team right now has a chance to go ahead and fight for that last spot. Obviously, you're going to have to fight off the crossover, but this team right now is talking playoffs, and if they find a way to get some done, they got lots to do.
And Henry, you brought up the long ball. I know Joe Powell, the 1 year he was my offensive coordinator in 1997, it was all about the long ball. I had 1,600 yards on 61 catches.
Wow.
He's all about the long ball. In the playoffs, that's interesting
We're
right
talking
there.
about playoffs.
That is interesting, Coach. That is the head coach talking right there, being optimistic.
They got to fight off that crossover. If they get a chance to win, they got some winnable games on their schedule. They got a chance. It's playoffs.
That's interesting.
I wonder what Jim Moore would think. I honestly do. Getting set for game one. Hope you enjoy it. And we're here for a while, so get ready for triple header action. Here come the REDBLACKS at 3-7 to take on the 1-9 Argos on TSN. Kickoff is coming up. Marilyn Hoskins of Burnaby, BC. It's your chance to win big thanks to Save-On Foods' $1 million touchdown to win. If a kickoff's returned for a TD in this game, you can win a $10,000 home theater package if it happens twice. You can also win $1 million. Good luck, Marilyn. Off to Ottawa to get it started. Gordon Miller and Dwayne Ford.
Thank you, Rod. Good afternoon from Ottawa. It's the first of 3 on TSN today. The Toronto Argonauts taking on Ottawa, the nation's capital, as Ottawa tries to bounce back from 3 consecutive losses and a bye week.
And they put their fate in the hands of Jonathan Jennings as their starting quarterback this week. There you see making his 3rd start this season, looking for his first victory as the Ottawa REDBLACKS starting quarterback. And on the other side, the biggest story on offense has to be wide receiver Darrell Walker. There you see career-high 203 receiving yards. The Labor Day loss in Hamilton. He's hoping some of those big numbers can translate to a Toronto victory this time around.
Corey Chamberlain's team is 1-9. They have led in the second half in 4 of their 9 losses, including big leads in the last 2 weeks. 16 points against Montreal, 13 against Hamilton, but couldn't get it to go for them. And Rick Campbell's team 3-7 this year, 1-4 at home. The Argos, by the way, have lost 14 straight games away from home. Chris Rainey takes the kickoff back at his 10-yard line. And Rainey finds a seam up to the 35. And that's where the Argos will go to work behind McLeod Bethel Thompson, a quarterback. His last 4 games, 9 touchdown passes, no interceptions.
Yeah, that's been one of the positives, certainly, for the Toronto Argonauts. Obviously, a team that's desperately looking for victory, but their quarterback has stepped up, certainly in terms of his production and protection of the football in recent weeks.
Bethel Thompson, by the way, is now ranked number 2 in the Canadian Football League in passing. And the Argos are tied for the league lead in passing touchdowns. And right away, Antoine Pruneau, the starting free safety for Ottawa, is down with appears to be a cramp or a right leg injury. So he gets some medical attention.
Well, Pruneau had missed a handful of games earlier in the season, did a stint on the injured list.
Justin Howell, a 25-year-old out of Carleton, will come and take his place.
Pruneau, obviously a veteran presence, a guy who controls things on the back end for these Ottawa REDBLACKS. An important piece of what they do. You know, they've gone through injuries in the secondary, a lot of younger guys. Happy to have Corey Tyndall back in the lineup today, but again, big loss to see Antoine Pruneau go down on the first play of the game. Hopefully nothing too serious for him.
On first down, the give goes to James Wilder Jr. and Wilder up close to the 40-yard line for a gain of 5.
I'll take a look at the Toronto Argonaut offense and that receiving core. As we mentioned off the top, Darrell Walker went over 200 last week. He has 3 touchdowns in his last 2 games. They're certainly picking things up for the Argos. Ryan Bauman, the veteran, back in at right guard this week. It had been the American Will Campbell in that spot the last 2 weeks.
Second down, a couple of Thompson throws, and Armonte Edwards makes the catch. He'll have a first down up to the 48-yard line, a gain of 9.
Well, McLeod Bethel Thompson gets Armonte Edwards involved early. Edwards last week against Hamilton had just 1 catch in that ball game, despite being targeted 6 times.
On first down, the pass intended for S.J. Green is picked off at the line of scrimmage, intercepted by George Uko, and the big man George Uko with the pick, and Ottawa turns in the game's first turnover. George Uko, 6'3", 284 pounds. That ball might be flat by the time he's finished squeezing.
Go! Give me some money, nigga! Go! Give me some money, nigga!
Well, McLeod Bethel Thompson, as you mentioned, hadn't thrown a pick in his last 4 games. He didn't think the streak was going to end with George Uko plucking one, but the defensive lineman separated from his blocker. He was able to take a look into the backfield, time his jump perfectly to make a play.
First down Ottawa from the 36-yard line. And Jennings screens it out for Madu. And a first down and more for Ottawa. Gain of 13 yards for Moses Madu. So Jonathan Jennings, a new father on Monday, gets told on Tuesday he'll start this week against Toronto.
Yeah, and there's a little bit of a feeling, obviously, as this is a team that has gone through some offensive restructuring over the course of the season. Joe Paopao taking on a larger role in the offense and sort of changing up their scheme a little bit, that things will be built around Jennings.
On first down, a flag is down. Here's Madu out in the flat. Good for another first down as he gets down to the 12-yard line. 2 flags are down on the play. The gain is provisionally 10 yards. Al Bradbury is today's referee.
As we await the call, I'll just say Jennings is a guy who can really attack a defense with his legs, get out on the edge.
Toronto, number 39. Penalties decline. Play results in a first down.
Another first down for Ottawa, down to the Toronto 12-yard line.
So, you know, I would anticipate seeing some zone read type stuff. A lot of things with your run pass option to try and take advantage of Jonathan Jennings' strengths.
Toronto saw Hamilton march the ball down the field last week on its first possession. Now play fake. Jennings has all kinds of time. Throws down to the 5-yard line. Bratson off with a catch and a touchdown. And so off the turnover, Ottawa takes quick advantage to grab an early lead.
And again, Ottawa doing exactly as expected. You get Play action to draw the defense to the inside as they focus on Moses Madu, the running back, in that backfield. Everything's going to close down towards the middle. That's going to allow Jonathan Jennings to get out on the perimeter. There he's got that run pass option, finds Sinopoli open in the flat. High percentage pass, plenty of time to make the throw off that play action and the protection that affords him. And Sinopoli does the rest to get the REDBLACKS on the board early here.
Third touchdown catch of the year for Brad Sinopoli. So Jonathan Jennings on his first drive of the game on a short field thanks to the turnover takes advantage.
Well, a great start for an Ottawa team that has certainly had trouble finishing in close at times this season.
And now Lewis Ward for the point after. And a low line drive is good. So Brad Sinopoli on the receiving end of a 12-yard touchdown pass from Jonathan Jennings. A new dad and a fresh start in Ottawa. The CFL on TSN is brought to you by the Nissan Titan, ranked #1 in quality by J.D. Power. A 3-play, 36-yard scoring drive for Ottawa after the turnover. And Toronto, which has the worst turnover differential in the Canadian Football League, gets bitten early.
I think it goes without saying, not the start the Toronto Argonauts wanted.
Now, last week, they answered the Hamilton touchdown drive with a quick strike of their own. As you mentioned, had the lead in that game as Chris Rainey gets outside, finds a seam, and Rainey a good return up to midfield. And forced out of bounds at the 54-yard line, a 45-yard return in good field position for Toronto.
As we talked about last week, on Labor Day, the Toronto Argonauts return offensively. The response offensively after a Hamilton opening score was impressive to see. And right here, it's the special teams that provide a quick response, quick lift. Give the Argos great starting field position here.
On first down, Bethel Thompson looking for Walker and tries the one-handed catch. But back on the coverage for Ottawa was Gump Hayes. And the pass falls incomplete. By the way, the interception by Ottawa, the first in 180 attempts for McLeod Bethel Thompson.
Now we'll take a look at this one. Gump Hayes right in the hip pocket. Drew Walker, little push with that inside arm to get some separation, but unable to make the highlight reel grab.
Second down for the 54. Four-man rush. Bethel Thompson throws underneath for Wilder. Spins off the first man, fights for some yardage, and is close to a first down as he falls down to the 41-yard line, which is right where the first down marker is. So James Wilder Jr. returned to the starting lineup for Toronto last week. And now another injury for this Ottawa D. Down on the play is Avery Williams.
Another key player at a key position.
So Anton Pruneau went out before the first defensive play for Ottawa. And now Williams, second-year man out of Temple, is down. Pruneau is back in for Ottawa.
Yeah, first play back in actually for Pruneau. Justin Howell had been in there still to start that series. Williams argued, I think you could make a pretty good case for him as Ottawa's top defensive player this season.
11:28 to go here in the opening quarter. We'll step aside here in Ottawa.
Typically don't.
Avery Williams makes his way off the field for Ottawa. And James Wilder Jr. was inches short of a Toronto first down, so on comes the short yardage team, and James Franklin, a quarterback for Toronto, to keep the sticks moving.
Argos had a fumble in a short yardage situation on Labor Day. Franklin coming in cold.
Time's in, flags are down. And Franklin's initial push should be enough for the first down, pending the flag. This Toronto offense has come to life since August the 1st. One of the best in the Canadian Football League. #2 in total yards per game since the opening month of the season. But again, Corey Chamberlain's team has been unable to find a way to convert offensive success. Last week, he had 7 sacks for 6 turnovers by Hamilton. That should be enough to win most games.
Yeah, but again, I think it was a tremendous first half for the Argos. A bulk of their production, both offensively and defensively, coming in the opening 30 minutes. You remember the second half started with Hamilton quarterback Dane Evans completing 19 straight passes. Argos outscored 49-9 in the second half of their last 2 games combined.
Offsetting offside penalties. 47 for Ottawa. The offensive line for Toronto. We'll replay this down, 3rd down.
So that never happened. Started over again, and for Ottawa, of course, 3 consecutive losses, 7 of the last 8 games. But coming off a bye week that might have been perfectly timed for the home team.
Sometimes you just need a break.
So we'll try it again, 3rd and inches with Franklin under center. And this time flag free. Franklin dives ahead, and Toronto gets a first down.
A good push from that Argonaut offensive line. Randy Richards back in the O-line rotation.
That interception, by the way, by Ottawa, just its 6th of the year. They're last in the league in that department. And you see Williams trying to shake it out on the Ottawa sideline. First down from the 45. Bethel Thompson has lots of time, and now will tuck it down and takes a belt for his trouble as he gets whacked by Darius Jackson on the play. A gain of maybe 2, but that was a full shot by Darius Jackson.
It was kind of the slow motion slide for Bethel Thompson. Bethel Thompson's done a really nice job, I find. When you look at the things that have coincided with the Argos' improvement offensively, I think one of them has been actually their quarterback learning how to better use his legs and kind of when to take off and so on. It's a little slow getting down on that when he takes a shot.
2nd and long. It's a 4-man rush to give it off to Wilder. He gets down to the 40-yard line. Tripped up on a good defensive play by Randall Evans, along with Kevin Brown, and it'll be 3rd down for Toronto from the 40-yard line.
And that'll bring on Tyler Krapina.
Ottawa native who's on a roll. He's made 13 consecutive field goals. This try will come from 47 yards out. Jimmy Ralph is the holder. And just squeezes that over, and Toronto answers Ottawa's touchdown drive with a field goal of its own. It's a 7-3 lead for Ottawa with 9:01 to go here in the opening quarter on the CFL on TSN. A triple header day this Saturday. Well, it's a triple header day here on TSN. 2 Labor Day rematches coming up. It's Saskatchewan at Winnipeg, followed by a special live mic game, Calgary and Edmonton. Bo Levi Mitchell and Trevor Harris going toe-to-toe at 7 Eastern, 4 o'clock Pacific. Ottawa starts from its 35-yard line, up 7-3. Jennings floats that out. The pass is caught. And Nate Bahar has the grab and a first down out to the 46-yard line.
A nice second effort there from Nate Bahar, the Carleton University product, getting the opportunity to start at that wide-out spot. We take a look at the rest of this Ottawa starting offense. Looking to add some speed to that receiving core. Jermanique Smith makes his CFL debut playing in the slot today, wearing number 83. A little shuffle on the O-line. Evan Johnson, the U of S product, goes to right tackle from left guard. Philippe Gagnon starts at left guard, former Alouette.
There's Moses Madu on the first down carry. Runs into a wall of Argos, led by Cleon Lang.
Cleon Lang and that Argo defense had such a great start in Hamilton, getting after it. Freddie Bishop was among those leading the way. Keep an eye on him from his defensive end spot here this afternoon. So I thought Justin Herdman-Reed had a terrific game. He gets to start at middle linebacker today. He was in on a number of big plays. I would say the most noticeable Argo defensive player last week. The Argos Swiss Army knife defensively has been Alden Darby. Guy who's bounced around to different spots. He's at free safety today.
Second and long. Jennings fires, and the pass is caught for a first down. And there's Jermanique Smith's first CFL grab down to the 49-yard line of Toronto, a gain of 13.
Well, Jonathan Jennings afforded good protection from his offensive line. You'll see zone coverage. Smith given a little bit of room to operate, finds a soft spot and sits it down.
Jennings 5 for 5 to start the game. Gives it back to Madu. Moses Madu with good first down yardage. That's been an issue for Ottawa all year long, Dwayne, is a lack of production on first down. Last in the league in first down yards on average, and also last in second down conversions as a result of so many second and longs.
Yeah, bad combination certainly for this team, but trying to make some changes offensively. Again, Joe Paopao, veteran CFL coach, taking on a bigger role in terms of not just play calling, but structuring this offense as well.
On second down, Jennings takes the snap, dives ahead, and has a first down inside the 40-yard line, a gain of 6.
There you see, called quarterback run. Again, playing to the strengths of Jonathan Jennings.
You see the new Ottawa logo, but Ottawa coaches and sideline staff are also rocking the old logo this week. You may have seen the old R with the duckbill logo. How good is that, huh? Tony Gabriel, Tom Clements.
Yes, sir.
Bring it on.
Some great memories.
Russ Jackson. Ronnie Stewart. Look it up, kids. First down. Jennings has time and just throws that to the Argos sideline. He got belted at the end of the play by Freddie Bishop.
I'll take the throw away, live to fight another down.
First incompletion for Jennings on the afternoon. Brings up second down from the Toronto 37-yard line. Here's the opportunity for Ottawa laid out on the schedule. You've got the 1-9 Argos. You've got the BC Lions struggling. Ottawa's got BC home and home in the next 2 games.
Yeah, I mean, Ottawa's playoff hopes as we sort of enter the stretch run will be kind of determined in these next couple of weeks.
Jennings throws, and a high pass is caught. The ball comes out. R.J. Harris made the grab. They're going to rule that a catch. Are they ruling a fumble? The ball is scooped up by Toronto's Alden Darby, and it is Toronto football.
Well, I'll be curious to see what the review says on this one, as it seems to me that plays with longer possession time than this for the receiver have been ruled the other way.
Abdul Kenna, the former Ottawa star, knocked the ball loose. The play will be reviewed while the result when we come back. All turnovers are reviewed by the CFL Command Center. R.J. Harris made the catch, or did he? And Al Bradbury has the ruling on the review.
After review by the Command Center, the play on the field has been overturned to an incomplete pass. Third down.
Now, when you take a look at the replay on this, you'll see that R.J. Harris, he's airborne. He's got the ball in his hands, pulls it to his body, but I think the argument here is as he lands, he doesn't have full control of the ball before the hit that jars it loose.
So it brings up third down now for Ottawa on a field goal try from just outside the 44-yard line for Lewis Ward. The CFL's most accurate place kicker this year is 27 of 28. And he puts that through. Just one miss on the year, and Ottawa restores its 7-point lead.
Well, LP Bourassa with the snap. Punt to Richie Leone. The hold. And Lewis Ward.
Dwayne, this is the biggest conversation in football, or one of the biggest, is what constitutes a catch anymore? What constitutes a catch and possession? And not just in this league, but the NFL as well. I mean, to most of us, that looked like a catch.
You seem dissatisfied with the call, Gordon.
Here's Bethel Thompson. Throws, and the pass is caught. S.J. Green, a first down up to the 52-yard line.
Yeah, and again, I understand it because it's been a moving target over the years, right? Everybody tries to define it, and the definition keeps changing from year to year. Ultimately, again, like this comes down to the fact that when he hasn't landed and sort of survived contact through landing, it's not considered a catch until that occurs, and therefore, when the ball is jarred loose, it's incomplete rather than a fumble.
Earl Walker takes that swing pass. It gets down to the 43-yard line. Antoine Pruneau makes the stop. A gain of 15 yards. Another Toronto first down.
Well, Darrell Walker has been the hottest of Toronto receivers of late. Again, 200-plus yards en route to being one of the performers of the week. Coming out of the Labor Day game.
After a quiet start to his Argo career, here's Wilder on the first down carry. Inside the 40, down to the 36-yard line. Matthew Shinetti on the sidelines for us.
Yeah, Gord, you can see Avery Williams is back in the game. He was dealing with a left leg injury just behind his knee. Antoine Pruneau is still struggling with that calf injury that he was dealing with. Jared Tavai has a shoulder injury that they were working on the sidelines. And interestingly, Richie Leone is still routinely working on a calf injury or calf pull or some kind of calf muscle issue on his left plant leg, guys.
Ahead of the bye week, Ottawa struggling with injuries. Bethel Thompson got away from the first, but not the second. A flag comes down as Avery Williams brings down the Argo quarterback.
Well, Avery Williams apparently showing no ill effects.
Noel Thorpe, the Ottawa defensive coordinator, looking on.
Major foul, roughing the passer. Ottawa, number 98. 15 yards from the original line of scrimmage. Automatic first down.
Avery Ellis is called for roughing the passer. And so instead of a third down, it's a fresh set of downs for Ottawa, or for Toronto, rather.
Yeah, keep an eye on Ellis coming off the edge. Quick move inside, but he comes in down low on that hit, thus the roughing the passer call. The hit outside of the strike zone, so to speak.
So first down Toronto from the Ottawa 20-yard line. Three-man rush. Bethel Thompson under pressure, and he'll get that away. Being grabbed there by J.R. Tavai. I was able to get the pass away to bring up 2nd and 10. And now I think Pruneau is down in the end zone. So Pruneau trying to gut it out, as Matthew Chinetti mentioned, with that calf injury. But
yeah, I mean, he's been limping the entire time since he came back into the game, and finally after this play, after having to get a little bit deeper in coverage, I think just said no mas.
So Justin Howell will come back on for Ottawa. Mentioned the second-year man out of Carleton.
I just want to take a look back first here as we take a look. Antoine Pruneau, watching the top right corner of your screen near the goalpost. There you see Pruneau. Just kind of as he's backpedaling, that calf seemed to seize up on him. Whatever exactly the issue is, obviously became exacerbated. Do you like that word?
Yeah, good one.
I suspect that his day may be done.
Well, you come off a bye week, right? You get 13 days off. The first play of the game, a kickoff covered, you get hurt.
Yeah. Bit of a sign that it's not meant to be.
And Ottawa's had to make some adjustments this week. Shared Baltimore also out of their lineup. So as you mentioned, looks like Pruneau will be done for the afternoon, likely going straight to the Ottawa locker room. But now 2nd and 10 for Toronto from the Ottawa 20. Again, a 3-man rush for Ottawa. Bethel Thompson steps up and throws. The pass is caught. Armani Edwards to the goal line and doesn't get in. Right down the stripe. Edwards thought he got to the end zone, but no indication from the official. But it is a first down for Toronto. And the ball, at the very least, down to the 1-yard line. The officials are conferring it's not ruled a scoring play, so that won't be automatically reviewed.
Well, Bethel Thompson does a nice job here, sensing pressure coming from the backside. So he steps up to escape.
And hang on a second, they're ruling a turnover here.
Well, there was some wrestling around for the football. Andre Ferris came in with the initial hit.
Now Edwards is reaching forward. Now
that ball's across the stripe.
So there's a whole bunch of stuff going on there. Was Edwards' knee on the ground when he reached forward?
And regardless, Edwards to me has possession of this football.
He's not down when he reaches, but the ball.
But he also has possession of the ball when he's down, and the ball again with.
The previous play is under automatic review by the command center.
So here's the thing. This might be a break for Toronto. Because all turnovers are automatically reviewed, they'll review this play, rule it not a turnover, and a touchdown.
Yeah, and now again, we'll look closely as we're looking for a turnover. To me, his knee is actually down before he reaches with the football. I mean, I'm not entirely sure where the turnover call came from.
Okay, so watch him reach.
Yeah, see, left knee is down.
It's close.
Yeah, I mean, I think the outcome of this should be Toronto ball at the 1-yard line, but it shouldn't be a fumble in any case.
All right, here's Al Bradbury with the call.
After review by the command center, the player has been ruled down at the 1-yard line with the ball still. First down and goal for Toronto.
All right, so it's not a turnover, it's not a touchdown. It's first and goal Toronto from the Ottawa 1.
Yeah, and I think this is the right call. And, you know, I think what happened from the officials' point of view is we got to see it in slow motion, but at full speed, you see that arm shoot out.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, Ottawa comes up with the football. It looks like he lost the ball. But very clear that Armani Edwards had control of the football as he reached out and was down.
So James Franklin comes back on with a short yardage team. First and goal from the Ottawa 1-yard line. Looking for their first rushing touchdown of the season. And they give it off to Walker, and a flag is down, but Darrell Walker is in. That would snap a CFL record 12-game streak without a rushing touchdown for Toronto.
Offside. Ottawa. Penalties decline. Touchdown.
And the touchdown will stand. So Darrell Walker on the carry takes it in. And Toronto now with a chance to tie it with a point after.
I'm not sure if anyone had Darrell Walker in the pool to score the Argos. I think after last season, everyone thought it would be James Franklin on the sneak right there. A little creativity.
But once again, an impressive touchdown drive for Toronto. 7 plays, 75 yards.
Hey, that's easy.
And now the Argos can tie it up as Tyler Carpina comes on. 10-10 it is with 2:10 to go in the opening quarter.
Take a look back at the drive that tied this game for the Toronto Argonauts. Bethel Thompson finds S.J. Green down the sidelines. Darrell Walker, a little swing screen, bubble screen look. Edwards.
Also aided by a roughing the passer penalty.
Yes, sir.
Against Ottawa. Sets them up at the 1-yard line on the pass to Edwards, and then Darrell Walker takes it in for the touchdown.
By the way, that moves Darrell Walker's season total for rushing yards to 0 as he came into the day.
Yes.
-1 rushing yard on the season.
So he has no yards rushing for 1 touchdown.
Yes. That sounds like my stats.
You and Darrell Walker play a very different brand of football.
Yes, yes. How we got there, very different.
What you mean I can't check?
Including the speed at which we got there.
Yes. Stephen Logan and Greg Morris back to receive for Ottawa. Logan, a veteran who's played previously in BC and Montreal, stands back at his 10-yard line. Takes it to the 15. And Logan gets out across the 30-yard line, brought down by Ian Wild, the special teams tackle. And so Jonathan Jennings and the Ottawa offense will go back to work.
Jennings putting together a pretty decent third start as an Ottawa Red Black thus far.
Ottawa last in the league in interceptions coming into this game, has one. Last in the league in touchdown passes in this league on the season, has one.
Not bad.
Yeah.
Not a bad opening 15 minutes.
Jennings 5 of 7 for 60 yards and a touchdown so far. Stands back, lost the football on the sack, and Toronto has it back. Ian Wild recovers the fumble on the sack of Jonathan Jennings. As jumping into the quarterback was
Robbie Smith.
Robbie Smith.
Sack. Wilfrid Laurier product. Watch Smith coming from the defensive left side. Just as Jennings is stepping up to throw. Apparently we had spoken too soon about things going well for the Red Blacks.
So that'll give Toronto the football at the Ottawa 31-yard line.
Big play for Robbie Smith, the number 9 overall pick in this year's CFL draft.
Here comes the rise. Bethel Thompson looks. Fresh Jay Green. Got the other way. Intercepted by Gump Hayes. He's got some room to run.
And he's got wheels.
He can fly. Edwards trying to chase him down and does, but not before he gets out to the Toronto 50-yard line. Turnovers on back-to-back plays. And a 51-yard return by the Shavon Hayes, better known as Gump. And Ottawa's in business.
Well, keep an eye on Gump Hayes out on the corners. You're going to see the routes develop in front of him. You'll see one receiver go deep. As the break comes out from the slot, that's where Hayes switches gears. He decides he's going to get out on that route. Ball gets deflected. He finds himself the man on the spot.
First down Ottawa from the Toronto 49. Jennings fires into the sidelines it goes. And the pass is caught there by Dominique Grimes. Down to the 35-yard line. Another Ottawa first down, a gain of 14.
Dominique Grimes comes into this game as the Red Blacks' leading receiver.
Another trend buster for Ottawa. Just 5 interceptions on the season coming into this game, 2 in the first quarter. Jennings sees some room and runs down to the 30-yard line. Brought down there by Toronto's Devon Coleman, a gain of 5.
Second time here in the first quarter that we've seen that quarterback draw from Jonathan Jennings. To look to keep that Argos pass rush honest. Discourage the guys up front in double blue from pinning their ears back, getting upfield if they have to be aware of possibly redirecting and getting in gaps to defend.
Jennings sets it up underneath. The pass is caught by Grimes, and Dominique Grimes with the first down inside the 20, down to the 18-yard line, a gain of 12.
Dominique Grimes, lone receiver, out to the right side. Quick underneath, create a little bit of traffic. Hard for the defenders to follow through the middle. Again, it's generally the point of crossing routes, working against man coverage.
Fresh set of downs and a reverse now. It's pitched across to Germany, Harris, and Germany Smith, and Smith inside the 10-yard line. Gets down to about the 7. It'll be a gain of 11 and another Ottawa first down. And that'll be the final play of the opening quarter. As Ottawa, thanks to the interception, drives the ball downfield, has a chance to retake the lead. It's a 10-10 tie after the opening 15 minutes. Ottawa and Toronto on the CFL on TSN. Back here in Ottawa, the numbers through the opening quarter. Turnovers a big part of this opening 15 minutes. 3 of them in total, 2 by the Toronto Argonauts. And Ottawa with 113 total yards and 7 points off turnovers so far, and driving here again in the second quarter. Gord Miller back here with Dwayne Ford, and Ottawa 3 consecutive losses coming in off a bye week. One thing Rick Campbell, the head coach, talked about was they need more sustained drives. They need more production consistently from their offense.
Yeah, and I think they look for that to come from a couple of places. Obviously, you've got to get the run game going. That's going to be a big part, I think, of any sort of ball control type offense. But then in addition to that, you look at Jonathan Jennings. We've seen him running the football a little bit. That, you know, I think at times it's going to be about the quarterback using his legs to extend some drives, however that may be, whether through called plays or improvisation.
First and goal from the 7. It's picked up in the end zone. So another turnover, the 4th of the game, the interception from Alden Darby. And at the goal line, Ottawa is turned away. 3 possessions, 3 turnovers to end the first quarter and begin the second.
Well, back-to-back interceptions by the Arizona State products. Alden Darby here. Gump Hayes for Ottawa moments ago. And no sooner had we talked about what you need for sustained drives. Oh yeah, don't turn over the football.
Ottawa has thrown the most interceptions in the Canadian Football League this year.
You hate to see it in that part of the field where you're...
First pick in the juice, man. Go get him. A lot of waves. Go get him right now.
Guaranteed points off the board.
First down, Toronto from its own 9-yard line. And the first down carry goes to Chris Rainey, a gain of 5. So Rainey on in place of James Wilder Jr. for now in the offensive backfield for Toronto.
Yeah, Rainey has taken a fair number of offensive snaps in recent weeks. Bigger role, and obviously his spot is the kick returner.
12 men on the line for Ottawa. Bethel Thompson got belted as he unloaded that football. Hammered by Anthony Chiaffi. Now that'll bring up third down. They'll mark that actually at the 37. It will be a first down for Toronto.
Jimmy Ralph was a pretty good baseball player in his youth. You see him looking like center fielder roaming to go get that ball.
Back on first down, Bethel Thompson for Walker. Reaches up but can't quite make that catch. Over top of Ottawa's Chris Randall.
Well, here's your matchup. Darrell Walker on the outside, one-on-one against Chris Randall. Couple good veterans. Nice job by Randall getting hands on him. Don't let him get a free release. Walker, a speed guy, obviously. You let him free right off the line, he can carry it.
On second down, Bethel Thompson under pressure. Fires the sidelines, almost intercepted again by Gump Hayes. He stuck a hand out. Jimmy Ralph was the intended target. It'll bring up third down now for Toronto.
Well, McLeod, Bethel Thompson facing a little bit of adversity here early under Seems like constant pressure. Hurried throw. Fortunate to avoid the pick there.
And now the first punt of the game comes from Ronnie Pepper. Again, his career here in Ottawa. Pulls it down. And Pepper's got some room to run. Needs the 48-yard line. He's got it. Out of bounds at the 49 for Toronto. First down. Not sure if that was called or not.
Yeah, I don't think that was called. I think he saw that this kick was going to get blocked if he tried to kick it. Tell you that, watch the man coming off the edge for Ottawa, Galanders. He sees an opportunity to block, and so he goes to that block point. There's nobody in contain. Peffer recognizes that. I'll tell you, think about Ronnie Peffer. I saw this guy in his draft year at the Toronto Regional Combine. You never expect it. Ronnie Peffer had some of the best test numbers. He was one of the best athletes at the Combine as a punter.
Rainey on first down, brought down by J.R. Tavai. Loss of 4 on the play.
Let's go.
Ronnie Peffer, an injury-ravaged season last year.
That's really been kind of the story of Peffer's career, is that he's battled those injuries. He's had stints in Toronto and in Ottawa. Terrific kicker, hard-working kid, great attitude.
Second and long now for Toronto. From its own 45, and a flag comes down.
Procedure. Toronto, number 67. 5-yard penalty. Remains second down.
Jamal Campbell is called for procedure. Now second and 19. And the playbook gets pretty thin at this point.
Yeah. Gonna have to give the ball back to Ronnie Peffer here. Their big play guy.
So the screen pass for Rainey. Beats the first man, tiptoes up the sidelines, gets pushed out of bounds there by Ettore Latanzio. A gain of 14, that'll leave him 5 yards short of a Toronto first down.
The Argos actually did fairly well with this play, given that it looked like Ottawa sniffed it out from a hurry. In a hurry, you see Rainey in the backfield. Look at all the defenders running to him before the ball is even thrown. I mean, they know what the situation is and what the possible play calls are. And the defense was well prepared there. As I said, it was just the escapability of Rainey that even turned that into a positive play.
On 3rd and 5, Pepper's on the kick again, or is he? He gets him twice. Good high kick. Chases Logan back inside the 5-yard line. A 52-yard punt. A return of 5. And Ottawa will have the ball 1st and 10 from its own 12-yard line on Family Day in the nation's capital. It's a 10-10 tie between Toronto and Ottawa on the CFL on TSN.
Well, you look at the Ottawa REDBLACKS quarterbacking situation. Jonathan Jennings takes over as the starter today after Dominique Davis threw 3 picks right out of the gate against Saskatchewan. Yeah. August 24th, the REDBLACKS' last outing.
That's the first time in a decade that a team had turned the ball over 3 times on its first 3 possessions.
Yeah, and so, I mean, desperately looking to avoid the interceptions. You saw Jennings throw that pick in the end zone moments ago. It won't sit well.
Now they'll start first down from their 12-yard line. Moses Madu on the carry gets a couple. Brought down quickly by Toronto's Kenan Gilchrist, and it brings up 2nd and long for Ottawa. That's been a situation that Ottawa's been in a lot this season. We mentioned the lowest first down average in the league and the worst 2nd down conversion rate in the league, and the two are
they go hand in hand.
3 for 4 today though on 2nd down. Jennings throws, and the pass is caught over the middle by R.J. Harris, and Harris has a first down on a gain of 12 out to the 26-yard line. So make it 4 for 5 on 2nd down for Ottawa this afternoon so far.
Yeah, that's a big one. Nice route from R.J. Harris. Good footwork.
Offside, Ottawa. Number 19, 5-yard penalty, remains second down.
Not so fast.
Yes, all for naught. You know, I'm going to go back a few plays because to me this is a tough situation for Ottawa even starting this possession. I cringed a little bit with the ball punted deep into Toronto territory. Steph Logan, veteran returner, he elects to field that ball rather than wait to see if it's going to bounce into the end zone. We talked on Labor Day where Steve Daniel from the CFL had given us the stat. Starting field position on offensive drives has been the most telling stat in terms of determining wins and losses this season. I'm going to play for field position.
Jennings throws underneath.
Hey, welcome back, Bear Woods.
Bear Woods with a big stick. On Ottawa's Jermanique Smith, a gain of 5 on the play, but it'll leave Ottawa well short of a first down and punting from its 14-yard line.
Oh, Bear Woods, the longtime Alouette. Third season as a Toronto Argonaut, has battled injuries a lot the last couple. Recently rejoined the team's practice roster. Been kind of helping out some of the younger players almost as a coach in recent weeks. This is his first game back on the roster, and he makes his presence felt.
Richie Leone stands near his goal line now. And off the side of his foot. That punt will sail out of bounds at the 42-yard line. An illegal punt will be called against Ottawa. Just a 28-yard kick and a penalty coming on the end of it. So the Toronto Argonauts.
Illegal punt out of bounds. Ottawa, number 13, 10 yards from where it went out. First down.
Yeah, good field position for Toronto in a 10-10 tie here in the nation's capital. The first of 3 today on the CFL on TSN. On the left, Hall of Famer Pinball Clemens talking to Toronto GM Jim Popp. The Argos are 1-9, are changes in the offing. Here is Matthew Chinetti with more.
Well, maybe they're talking about trades, Gord, but not likely, because this week when we spoke to General Manager Jim Popp, he says the teams have been calling, they have been inquiring, because the Argos have assets, namely at quarterback. But Jim Popp, at least publicly, is saying that he's not going to trade any of those assets right now. The way the Argos see it, they have a lot of players to build on. Obviously, take a look at McLeod Bethel-Thompson. There is, at least on the surface, a vote of confidence for what he's doing. But what does that mean for the future of Zach Collaros and James Franklin? That is still up in the air. But at this point, at least, Jim Popp is saying they're not willing to give any pieces away.
Bethel-Thompson gets whacked at the end of that play. Throws towards the goal line. Incomplete for Darrell Walker. Zach Collaros not yet cleared to practice with Toronto. On the sidelines this afternoon. Now a second down coming up for Toronto. Screen pass over the head of Wilder. That'll bring up third down for Toronto. 9:15 to go in the opening half. Rain beginning to fall here in Ottawa.
Yeah, we'll see if that precipitation becomes a factor in ball security.
It's been an issue here for both teams in the first half.
Yeah, as if they needed this thrown into the mix.
So Carpina comes on to try the field goal from 39 yards out. This to give Toronto the lead.
T10! Ready! Set!
Low line drive is wide to the left. And Stephen Logan will surrender the single point. And the Argos take an 11-10 lead.
Available intelligent around view monitor and standard rear cross traffic alert. Don't settle for less than the Nissan Rogue.
So Toronto has its first lead of the game.
Yeah, but overall, I'm going to say Ottawa dodges a bullet there. Again, as I go back to the decision not to see if the ball bounces into the end zone, potentially give up a single point. You follow that up with the very out of character shanked punt by Richie Leone, second leading punter in the Canadian Football League, leaves the Argos basically starting their possession in field goal range, and all it ends up costing you anyway is a single point.
Ottawa takes over first down from its 35-yard line. Jennings throws, Sinopoli the catch. And the gain limited to about 3 on the play. Justin Herdman-Reed makes the stop for the Argos.
Well, kind of a down year for Ottawa star Brad Sinopoli. No doubt missing some of his running mates in that receiving core. There you see 4 consecutive 1,000-yard seasons since joining the Red Blacks in 2015. On pace for, we'll say, just 716 this year.
Here comes the blitz on second down. The pass is tipped.
He supposed to have number 2.
Ball's incomplete. And Ottawa will be forced to punt.
Well, both teams struggling to find traction offensively here in the second quarter.
They only uncorked a 28-yarder first time back.
Well, this is a guy who averages over 49 yards a punt.
And Rainey once again back to receive. Great kick this time, pounds it down to the 15-yard line. That's where Rainey will take it. A 56-yard punt, and he gets whacked at the end of the return by Nigel Romick on a great special teams tackle. A 56-yard punt, not much of a return, and a big collision at the end of it. The Argos have the football back at their 21-yard line. We got lots going on today on TSN, a CFL triple header, and coming up after this on TSN 4 and 5, the U.S. Open Women's Final, Bianca Andreescu from Mississauga, Ontario. And a Grand Slam final for the first time in his career takes on 23-time Grand Slam winner Serena Williams. Her idol. Quite an afternoon. Darrell Walker takes that swing pass, but a shoestring tackle there by Gump Hayes. A loss of 1 on the play for Toronto.
So Gump Hayes already with an interception in this game. Given name Deschavon, picked up the nickname Gump during his college days because he was fast, a speedster. He had the run Forrest Gump. That's the handle.
2nd and 11 for Toronto from its own 20-yard line. Thompson fires. The pass is caught by Edwards. A first down and more. Armani Edwards out to the 50-yard line and a gain of 29 yards.
Well, big chunky yardage here for Armani Edwards. He's the one receiver out wide. Lots of field to work with. Get open here as Jay Green pushes coverage deep. Armani Edwards hooks it up.
Martin down to the 49-yard line. Bethel Thompson throws. Edwards out close to midfield. And they're going to rule that incomplete as Corey Tindall was there on the stop.
I mentioned Tindall earlier, a guy who had been having a pretty good season before missing the last couple of games due to injury. A welcome sight, particularly with Antoine Bruneau going down early in this ball game, to have the veteran Tindall back in there along with Chris Randall providing a little stability on the back end.
4-man rush. Bethel Thompson looking over the top. Walker makes the catch. Fought away from Gump Hayes, and a 37-yard gain for Darrell Walker.
Yeah, you'll see Hayes was right with him on the sidelines. Walker, the outside receiver to that wide side. You see Hayes is right with him, but when the ball goes up, watch how Walker locates it, separates while Hayes is still kind of trying to find that ball in the air for a split second. Couple big plays to the wide side for the Argos.
Inside the 25, first down from the 24. Bethel Thompson fires, but pass is caught underneath by Rodney Smith, and Smith with room to run, dives to the pylon, touchdown. A 24-yard score for Rodney Smith. And the Argos extend their lead.
A pretty good looking drive for the Toronto Argonauts.
Second touchdown catch of the year for Smith.
Rodney Smith, first of all, watch Declan Cross, comes in, picks up the middle linebacker on the blitz. Nice job by the fullback, Rodney Smith, working underneath. Just outrunning his man, Justin Howell, across the field. Just enough to get that pylon.
Hey, and once again, Toronto moves the football. 5 plays, 89 yards in just 2.5 minutes.
Well, very efficient, couple big chunks. The completions to Edwards and Walker.
And so the Argos once again have grabbed the lead. We mentioned the previous 2 weeks, Toronto has enjoyed leads. 16 points against Montreal, 13 points against Hamilton, 8 here against Ottawa. But they've not been able to convert those leads into wins. We mentioned in 4 of their 9 losses this year, Toronto has had the lead in the second half of the football game.
Yeah, I mean, we joked before this with the way things have gone for the Argos. It's basically, you know, they can just hold that lead halfway through the third quarter and hope for lightning. We'll be all set.
But moving the football has not been the issue for Toronto in recent weeks.
No, I mean, they've done some good things offensively. Really what has hurt the Argos is for as many plays as they have made, they maybe haven't necessarily made those plays at clutch times in ball games.
To go here. Bethel Thompson had 89 passing yards in that drive, had 107 in the game prior to that march. And Logan now takes the kickoff from his 20-yard line. And Logan across the 30-yard line. It's knocked down there by Declan Cross. And let's take a look back at that 5-play, 89-yard march for Toronto.
Again, ball spread around. Different receivers. There's a big catch to Edwards on the wide side, and then down the sideline. Nice job locating that football. Ball by Darrell Walker to put them into Ottawa territory. Underneath route to Rodney Smith. Stretches out that 6'5" frame to get the pylon and the score.
And now first down Ottawa from its own 31-yard line. Inside 5 to go in the first half. Jennings throws and the pass is complete. Dominic Grimes with a catch out across the 50-yard line to the 51. A gain of 20 and an Ottawa first down. And Grimes shaken up on the tackle. He was brought down by Alden Darby, who got the worst of that collision.
Keep an eye on Rhymes here. He's going to work towards the inside a little bit. Darby from his free safety spot is actually the guy that comes in with the first hit, tries to jar the ball. So he may have taken a shot to the shoulder, and I'll tell you, you see Dominic Grimes, this is a big dude. So he kind of bounces off that one. Darby, despite having the momentum, takes the worst of it.
3:53 to go here in the first half. Alden Darby has been in the middle of things in a turnover-filled first half. And Matthew Boding will come on in his place for Toronto. As Ottawa has the ball just shy of its 52-yard line. Down by 8 here in the first half. First meeting of the year. First of 3 between Ottawa and Toronto.
Well, I'll tell you right now, you're seeing something you don't often see in the Canadian Football League. Argos with Jermaine Gabriel at safety, Rob Woodson at field halfback, Matthew Boateng at field corner. 3 Canadians in the secondary.
Jennings drops it off for Madu, and Moses Madu a first down and more. Bear Woods the stop. A flag comes down at the end of the play. 2, in fact. It's a gain of 15 yards.
Yeah, this may get marched back. I think there may have been a tourist hit by one of the Ottawa linemen going hunting for blocks at the end of the play.
After the play was over, major foul, Ottawa, number 66, unnecessary roughness. Back 15 yards. We're still at first down.
So after the first down is gained, Nolan McMillan is called, or as you call it, a tourist hit.
Yeah, keep an eye on Nolan McMillan. He's the right guard, so take care of pass protection first. And getting it downfield, and you're going to see the defender goes down. He takes that extra shot at the fallen linebacker.
So there's a first down, but back to the 51-yard line. Jennings pump fake was over the top, has a man wide open. The pass is incomplete for Rhymes, who had nothing but yard markers in front of him, with the pass just out of his reach.
Yeah, just by inches. Jennings recognized that Rhymes was in behind coverage. Lone receiver at the top of your screen. Nice double move there, gets him in behind Jonathan Dowling. Jennings saw it right off the break. Knew he had him.
On second down, Jennings fires, pass is caught, very close to the first down marker. Dominique Smith is marked down the 48-yard line. That'll put him right at the first down marker. And it will be an Ottawa first down. We've reached the 3-minute warning in Ottawa. Ottawa just misses a chance to pull closer, but on the march, down by 8 here in the first half of the CFL on TSN from Ottawa.
Back in the studio, getting set for halftime. The Argos lead the way. We're going to talk about some big plays by Toronto and also about Jonathan Jennings and some missed opportunities for the Red Blacks. And the Banjo Bowl coming up will set the stage for the rematch between the Bombers and the Riders. Back to Gordon Gway.
Thank you, Ron. First down, Ottawa from the Toronto 48-yard line. Jonathan Jennings stands in and throws, and wide open underneath. The pass is caught, and off and running is Nate Bahar, and Bahar inside the 20-yard line, a gain of 33 yards, marked down at the 15.
Well, Nate Bahar is a guy who I think can contribute even more to this offense given the opportunity. Took over as a starter a few weeks ago after the release of Julian Feoli-Godino. Carleton product, the 5th overall pick by Edmonton in 2017, joined the Red Blacks as a free agent this offseason.
On first down, Jennings on the wide side for Sinopoli. And Sinopoli fights his way inside the 10, down to the 9. Gain of 6 on the play.
Ottawa coming up with a pretty good response of their own following the Argo touchdown. End zone interception aside, Jonathan Jennings has looked pretty comfortable at the controls of this Ottawa offense through the first half.
Ottawa scored a touchdown on its first possession of the football game. Second down from the 9. Play fake to Madu. Jennings under pressure to the end zone, has a man. Madu as it goes through his hands, incomplete. That'll bring up third down for Ottawa.
Great call and pretty good looking execution here. You're going to see Madu with the play action. Jennings using the legs again to get outside. You'll see a great block out on the edge here from the slot to allow him to get that corner.
It's now a chip shot field goal try from Lewis Ward from the 16-yard line. And Ottawa's back within 5, but 2 opportunities missed on that drive. The overthrow to R.J. Harris, and then a slight overthrow to Moses Madu.
Yeah, they got the look they wanted. Madu gets sort of lost in behind coverage coming off that play action fake, as is often the case. Jennings looking to him on the throwback. But just a slight overthrow.
So the Argos take over. First down from their 35-yard line, up by 5, 1:52 to go in the first half. The rain seems to have slacked off a bit. Matthew Cinetti has not gone to the coat yet, so we know it's not raining that hard. Bethel Thompson throws underneath. S.J. Green the catch. Then gets a gain of 6 after the 41-yard line. And there is Antoine Pruneau in the walking boot for Ottawa. Was injured on the opening kickoff. Tried to stay in the game, was unable to do so.
Yeah, I think that those accessories would suggest that his day is done.
On second down, here's Wilder. James Wilder, a first down. Out across the 50 to the 52-yard line, a gain of 10. And the Argos with a chance now as they approach midfield to get some points before the end of the half.
They're looking to extend that lead. By the way, the Argo touchdown on their last possession. You go back to the Hamilton game on Labor Day. First touchdown that they've scored off a turnover in the last 2 games, despite 7 turnovers that they've created.
Bethel Thompson almost intercepted there by DeAndre Ferris on the coverage on Rodney Smith. They bring up second down for Toronto. The Argonauts have lost 14 straight on the road.
Get a look at DeAndre Ferris nearly coming up with the pick there.
Second and 10 for Toronto. And here comes the blitz. Safety blitz is on, and they got it.
Perfectly timed.
Justin Howell, the man who replaced Antoine Pruneau, takes down Bethel Thompson. And the loss is 12.
Well, you're going to see the free safety, Justin Howell, right here beside the goalpost. Watch how he times this up to the snap. Hits the gap perfectly. Dead sprint right up the middle. McLeod Bethel Thompson never had a chance.
He almost took that snap.
Bethel Thompson about to throw that. He did well to pull that ball in and secure it. Avoid a turnover.
Pepper back to punt. It'll bounce in front of Logan. Inside the 24-yard line, gets out to the 32. A 46-yard punt for Pepper. And a return of 8. Here's Matthew Cinetti on the sidelines for us.
Yeah, as the Argos defense scored goes back on the field, Alden Darby is not among them. He's dealing with a left hip injury the Argos have been looking at. And also to keep in mind, McLeod Bethel Thompson, after taking that hellacious hit, came off the sidelines. He was limping. He is now walking towards the Argos locker room, still limping, looking a little frustrated, obviously, but also walking a bit gingerly, guys.
You know, the late Ron Lancaster used to tell his quarterbacks, everyone's got someone on the field, you've got the safety.
Yeah. Read it, see it, and throw it hot.
Jonathan Jennings swings it off to Madu. Moses Madu with some room to run. Gets picked up on a good open field tackle there by Matthew Bolding in a gain of just 3.
Well, 35 seconds left for the Red Blacks here. See how aggressively they choose to go after things.
Jennings fires, and right at the first down marker, Sinopoli makes the catch. They're going to mark him down at the 41, which looked about a half-yard short of an Ottawa first down. 24 seconds remaining in the opening half. What wind there is at Ottawa's back. Third and half a yard. And Jennings goes straight ahead. And 21 seconds to go. Fresh set of downs for Ottawa.
Rick Campbell has never been shy about testing the range of his kicker, Lewis Ward, even in the midst of his consecutive field goal streak.
On first down, Jennings for Madu. Out to their 51-yard line, collides hard with Bear Woods. Gets a gain of 7 on the play. 12 seconds to go. The longest field goal of the year for Lewis Ward, 53 yards.
To match that, you'd have to get to the Toronto 46.
Clock is running. Jennings throws Sinopoli again to the 54-yard line. And thrown down hard.
Yeah, a lot of time eaten up in the wrestling match there.
So 3 seconds remaining.
So you're kneeling or going to the end zone here?
Back up, please.
And too many men in the huddle, I think,
Yep.
going to be called against Ottawa. They had 13 players in the huddle.
Yeah, Jacob Scarfone came in to bring in a play from the sidelines.
Too many men in the huddle. Ottawa, 10-yard penalty. Makes first down.
Scarfone brought the play in from the sidelines, but nobody.
Germany Smith didn't get off in time.
Yeah.
Smith playing in his first Canadian Football League game.
A little communication error.
And it will be kneel down time for Ottawa. A slugfest here in the first half in Ottawa. And the Argos once again will have a second half lead. 18-13 is the advantage after the opening 30 minutes. Coming up now, halftime with Rod Smith.
Thank you, Gord, and welcome to Ram at the Half. Because it's brought to you by the all-new Ram 1500, Motor Trend's 2019 Truck of the Year. Another winning season for Ram. Halftime, and the Argos up by 5. Welcome back inside our CFL on TSN Studios on this triple-header day, along with Henry Burris, Mike Benavides, and Milt Stegall. Missed opportunities on both sides, Benny, but the Argos have certainly made some big plays in this game.
Yeah, no doubt. When you take a look at the entirety of the first half, they're making plays, and there's a reason they're ahead. When you take a look at right from the top, they were able to take points off the board with an interception, and that was huge right in there. So Darby gets a pick, no points for Ottawa. That was a big kind of change in momentum a little bit. Now the offense got into position, and here's exactly what the punter's coach to do. No edge, he takes off. The man runs for a 13-yard gain. So now they're at midfield and gets changed field position. Now the offense starts rolling. That offense the last couple of weeks has been really getting a lot of yards upfield. There's a big-time playmaker there to D-Walk. And then great protection here. They do exactly what they need to do. Bethel backs up to give him some time, and they get the crosser there for the touchdown. So when you look at across the board, they've been making plays on all 3 phases. But when I look at it closely, there's still missed opportunities. I mean, there was a bad punt by Leone. They only got a single. You take a look at another missed field goal. You take another situation, then red zone, threw a pick. So, they made some plays, but there's still missed opportunities that could be more on the board right now.
And you know what, Coach, the other side of the ball, they're speaking the same sheet of music. But I love the fact with Joe Paopao that his aggressive style of play calling is starting to embody this entire offense, because now I think with this new offense, they finally took the bubble wrap off, and now they're letting Jonathan Jennings use all of his abilities, getting him on the edge, hitting Brad Sinopoli for a touchdown on opening drive where he was 5 for 5 to start things off. But this guy has legs. It makes it easier on the offensive line if you can run quarterback draws. But this is the stuff that's made Ottawa in the position that they currently are in, with interceptions, missed opportunities. They've left 21 points off the board, guys, from turnovers. Of course, we saw the interception in the end zone, missing the sluggo there, the double move, big plays. But one thing I talked about last night into today, you can expect big plays, lots of throwing down the field from both sides, and now we're seeing it especially from Ottawa.
Yeah, we have seen a lot of big plays, and defensively, Ottawa, they have given up a couple of big plays to Walker, to Smith, but defensively, and this is something we haven't said all year long, they're also making some plays. Yeah. I mean, coming into this game, they had a total of 5 interceptions. There's 2 players in the league alone that have more than 5 interceptions, but we see them making some plays. You see the big defensive lineman. You see Hayes, who's having a tremendous first half, make a great play right there. So they're giving their team a chance to win. Like I said before, what they have to do is stop giving up the big plays.
Hey, Chaz, he's talking defense. He's talking defense. What is wrong with you?
1987, city of Cincinnati, all city free safety.
Give me some tape.
We weren't taping back then. They weren't filming back then.
I need to see iPad.
All city free safety.
Which leaves only one question. Would you have been able to cover you?
Oh, without a doubt. Without a doubt.
Interesting battle. Get your banjos ready. We're talking about the banjo bowl coming up here at the half.
Play fake. Jennings has all kinds of time. Throw it down to the 5-yard line. Brad Sinopoli with a catch and a touchdown.
Well, a great start for an Ottawa team that has certainly had trouble finishing in close at times this season.
They give it off to Walker. Darrell Walker is in. That would snap a CFL record. 12-game streak without a rushing touchdown for Toronto.
Coming up later in the Super Saturday, the Banjo Bowl. Can you hear it? Riders, Bombers again after Saskatchewan's last-second victory by 2 points over Winnipeg. Johnny Augustine did well filling in for Andrew Harris. He spoke earlier with Sarah Orleski.
Johnny, well, your second CFL start, Labor Day Classic last week, Banjo Bowl this week, and you said you watched a lot of film, obviously, after that game. What stood out to you most about your play?
Just the fact that I know I can do it, right? When you prepare for something like this, it comes to show, with results. And that's the biggest thing, is learning that I can do this and, just trying to correct my mistakes and, fixing those mistakes to get this win today is the biggest thing.
How would you describe what the focus of this team has been this week, trying to bounce back from what was obviously a very disappointing last-second loss?
Yeah, we knew how close we were, and that's the thing. We didn't want to change anything that we did going into the Labor Day, because we had the right mentality, so we kept that mentality. And like we said, it's all aspects of the game: special teams, offense, defense. It's just correcting those little things. It's those little mistakes, losing by 2 or 3 or whatever, coming so close. So we know we have the right mentality coming in, and it's just trying to correct those little issues.
Best of luck today, Johnny.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Replacing Andrew Harris again. He had 98 yards last week. A big surprise how few yards and carries William Powell had for Saskatchewan.
Well, breaking news, isn't William Powell pretty good? They paid him a lot of money. I can promise you, if they don't use him today, Winnipeg will beat Saskatchewan. So you need to get the running game going with William Powell early and often.
Charleston Hughes, I got your back. I wasn't here to defend you. Slurpee Boy beat you, not me.
Under the bus.
But the coordinators on both offenses look to see what they do today, because they're both doing a great job.
Charleston Hughes, Willie Jefferson, Inspector Gadgets. Charleston Hughes was disappointed that he wasn't voted #1 by Slurpee Boy. So it's interesting to see those two guys. They don't go against each other. They used to be teammates. Who's going to have the best game? Who's going to have the best game? And we may even have a defensive player again this year who's the MOP.
Agreed.
Yeah, so Coach, you got Charleston over Willie at this point in the season.
Well,
right?
I always have a lot of respect for the Graybeards, and he's been around and he's got it done.
All right. And you have great hair, too, huh?
At the half, we'll be back with more on the stats. Toronto leading Ottawa 18-13. Red Blacks have missed some chances. Jonathan Jennings, over 200 yards passing in that first half. We'll be back. Freshman Year, the debut full-length album from the Reclaws, featuring the brand new single, Old Country Soul. Listen now on Apple Music. Halftime in Ottawa, and the Argos lead the Red Blacks by 5. Here's Henry with the stats.
Well, this is the good, the bad, and the ugly. Look at the passing yards, and Jonathan Jennings is over 70% passing. They've been spreading the ball around, but the turnovers have taken points off the board.
McLeod Bethel Thompson, 12 of 22, 203, 1 TD, 2 picks. Here he is now with Matthew Shinetti.
McLeod, it's getting to fall football. You took a hit there in your last series. How are you feeling?
Oh, feeling great. We just can't turn over the ball earlier. The team's playing great. Defense is lights out. Special teams is lights out. We have too many turnovers. So we'll come out, fix some things in the second half, and just execute better.
To that point, it feels like deja vu. The Argos are going into halftime with a lead. What are the ingredients you need to put in place to win?
Oh, we got a lot more better football to play. That was not a good half of football. Offensively, defensively, there's up and down, but we got to come out and execute. Clean football, and no one can stop us.
Thanks, MBT.
Thank you.
Second half of Game 1 and tripleheader Saturday is coming up here on TSN with the Argos. A 5-point lead over the Ottawa Red Blacks. Both of these teams desperately needing a victory. The halftime show brought to you by the new Ram Heavy Duty, the most capable heavy duty pickup ever. Always ready for the second half. And you know what? We are too.
Back here in Ottawa on this Saturday afternoon, the first of 3 on TSN today, and the Toronto Argonauts have an 18-13 lead on Ottawa through the opening 30 minutes. Jonathan Jennings gets the start for Ottawa today. A pretty good beginning for him, 18-24 for 203 yards, a touchdown on the afternoon. He's talking with our Matthew Shinetti.
Jonathan, I imagine, just given where you're sitting on the field, you saw a lot of points left out there on the field in the first half. What kind of adjustments were made?
You know, we just got to make the plays. We had a couple opportunities out there we didn't capitalize on, and we just got to find a way to get them done in the second half.
And how much do you appreciate the faith that you've gotten from Coach Powell and Coach Campbell, that they've looked and said, listen, the ball's going to be in your hands, and the one thing Coach Campbell said to us, well, you know he's going to go out there and try to get us a win?
For sure. You know, that's huge. You know, you want the backing of your teammates and your coaches, and, you know, if you have that confidence, you can do anything.
Thanks, John.
Thanks.
Ottawa will have the football to start this second half. By the way, Ottawa's average drive start from its 43-yard line, or from its 37-yard line, rather. Toronto's from its 43. And you mentioned this earlier, Dwayne. So far this season, 40 of 47 games. The team with a better average drive start position has won the game. 13 of the last 14, including last night. There's Logan, and a flag comes down as he gets up to the 34-yard line. It seems elementary, but it's such a difficult part of it. You talked about Ottawa electing to field a football inside the 5-yard line.
During the return, holding Ottawa, number 25, 10-yard penalty. First down.
So now they'll start inside their 25 at the 24-yard line.
Yeah, well, and Gordon, it becomes something that may not necessarily affect the immediate possession, but when you maybe go through a couple of exchanges of possession and so on, sometimes that's ultimately where the effects are bared out, but sometimes it is a little bit more immediate than that, quite frankly.
Actually, this drive will start inside the 15-yard line, and the other factor that the league points out is that in this situation, when you begin a drive inside your own 20-yard line, teams score touchdowns less than 6% of the time.
Yep.
Moses Madu on the first down carry, crosses the 20 up to the 21-yard line. You've talked about this before, Dwayne. It's hard to put together a 10-play drive against air.
Exactly. And you know, you think about the number of potential factors. I mean, the more plays that you have to run to get to the other end of the field, obviously the more things that can potentially go wrong along the way.
6-yard gain for Madu brings up second down for Ottawa. Four-man rush. Jennings drops it off for Madu. He's got a first down. Dives out to the 27-yard line in front of Ian Wild, a gain of 6.
You know, for a lot of years in this league, Gordon, Rich Strubler was always the guy that was associated as a defensive coordinator with the words bend but don't break.
Right.
And a little bit of his premise was, yeah, we'll let teams move the ball, but we're going to force them to where they can make some plays on us, but the only way that they're going to get to the other end of the field is to string together a long drive, and eventually they're going to make a mistake before they get there.
Jennings stands in, underneath he goes, and the pass is caught by Jermanique Smith, and Smith gets belted down to the 33-yard line, a gain of 8 in his Canadian Football League debut.
Yes,
3-year-old on a Southwest Baptist.
Yeah, Smith is a guy that the Red Blacks are hoping can add a little bit of a speed element to their receiving core. I mean, that is one piece that I think you could argue has been missing for them offensively, with Deontay Spencer pursuing NFL opportunities this season.
Play fake for Madu, and a quick pass is made there to Bahar, and Bahar, first down, out to the 46-yard line. So far, Ottawa's moved the ball pretty crisply. Some 30 yards so far on this drive, but still a long way from home.
Well, they are, but a good start. And again, Jennings looking comfortable. You heard Henry Burris talk at halftime about Jennings using his legs a little bit and what an asset that becomes for this offense.
Swinging out, Sinopoli lost the football. And it's recovered by the Argos, and off and running to the end zone is Ford, and Kadarius Ford, a 43-yard touchdown on the fumble recovery for Toronto.
Pending review.
Pending review. Was it a catch?
Exactly. And You know, I like the way that the officials handled this one. Let it play out. Let it play out so that you know whether it's going to be a touchdown if it is ruled a fumble, rather than whistle it dead immediately, even if you think that it's an incompletion. We'll have a look at the timing on this one.
So the question is, did Sinopoli have control of the ball when he was tackled by Rob Woodson?
Yeah, and, you know, from that angle, it looks like he's sort of secured it and looked to redirect.
Made a move.
Yeah. And then the ball was popped out. Again, I still always like to see a play at full speed to make an assessment.
So Kadarius Ford with a 43-yard return, and the touchdown will stand for the Toronto Argonauts.
Let's go. Hey, Wood. I appreciate it.
Well, and the Argos, who struggled to capitalize in Hamilton in terms of scoring points off of turnovers, now have 2 touchdowns off of turnovers in the first 34 minutes of this football game.
And they extend their lead, now up by 12 in the opening moments of the third quarter. So the Argo defense comes up with the hit, the scoop, and the score, and leads 25-13 here in the third quarter of the CFL on TSN.
Let's go, D's down their neck.
Toronto has its first defensive touchdown of the season. And a big one for Kadarius Ford. As the Argos now lead 25-13. We've talked about it before, Dwayne. They led by 16 against Montreal, led by 13 against Hamilton last week. Couldn't convert those. And now a 12-point lead against Ottawa. On the road, trying to win their first road game in 2 years.
Right now, the guys on the Ottawa sideline may be joking. We've got them right where we want them.
And Logan, though, brought down to the 16-yard line. And again, Dwayne, we saw that on the previous possession where a penalty pushed Ottawa back. And now a good special teams play by Toronto. And Ottawa once again starts inside its own 20-yard line.
Yeah, less than ideal field position, turnovers. I mean, all of these things kind of combining to make life very difficult for the Ottawa REDBLACKS here.
Ottawa's turned the ball over 3 times so far in the football game. Jennings gets chased and throws the ball for Sinopoli, incomplete. And the crowd getting restless here in the nation's capital.
They sure are. It was Freddie Bishop off the edge, supplying the pressure, not allowing Jennings to get outside, as the Argos maybe seem to be starting to grasp Ottawa's game plan a little bit in terms of moving Jennings around, getting him outside, letting him attack the edges. They're starting to become a little bit more contained responsibilities against the Ottawa quarterback.
On second down, Jennings fires, and the pass is caught. R.J. Harris to grab a gain of 8 will leave Ottawa short of a first down. This is a Toronto defense that's allowed the most first downs this year, the most 30-yard or more passing plays, and the most points in the CFL this season. But they force Ottawa into a punting situation here.
A Toronto team that has certainly had their struggles, and you know, as we've mentioned a few times in the course of this ball game, even with a lead at this point, not about to start breathing easier, given the way that second halves have gone for them in recent weeks.
Rainey back to take this punt from Leone. Good high kick. Rainey back at the 30-yard line. A 54-yard punt. And Rainey gets up to the 38-yard line. And this is the start of a big big day of football here on TSN. We've got 2 Labor Day rematches coming up. Saskatchewan and Winnipeg at 4 o'clock Eastern, 1 o'clock Pacific time, followed by Edmonton and Calgary. 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 o'clock Pacific. That's a live mic game. Bo Levi Mitchell and Trevor Harris facing off there.
Those are a couple of big-time dogfights happening in the West today.
And an open question about which team is the best team in the West right now. Is it Winnipeg at 8-3? Calgary 6-4, but got Bo Levi Mitchell back.
Well, were you asking me?
I'm asking you a question.
Listen, that sounds like more of a question for the panel. You know, let those guys take the abuse from 3 unhappy sets of fans, whatever your answer is.
Penalty on the return for Toronto, so the Argos back to their 20-yard line. And the give to James Wilder. And he's stacked up at the 25-yard line, a gain of 5. So we've discussed it, but you know, the game against Montreal outscored 22-6, outscored 27-3. You know, the pass to Armani Edwards in the end zone, the last play of the touchdown Atlantic game in Moncton, not able to squeeze it. And the second half just got away from him against Hamilton. Bethel Thompson looking over the top for Walker, and Walker can't quite make the catch. A great defensive play there by Chris Randall on the coverage. So Bethel Thompson, the Argos turned away as Randall gets a hand in.
We've seen Bethel Thompson put a lot of faith, and rightfully so, in Darrell Walker on the outside, throwing up some 50-50 type balls, hoping his go-to guy, Walker, can come up with those. For the most part, Ottawa's done a pretty good job that time. Chris Randall, the man taking it away.
And play call before the ball was snapped. Did get away
Time
time
violation. Toronto, number 17, 5-yard penalty. Still 3rd down.
So Pepper moved back inside the 10-yard line to kick this, inside the 5, in fact.
An opportunity here for Ottawa that's had a couple of tough starting field positions to open their first couple drives of the half. After Toronto taking a penalty on the kick and the Ottawa defense coming up big. Chance for a short field here for the Red Blacks.
Tumbling kick to Logan at the Ottawa 50-yard line. Logan crosses midfield, dives ahead down to the 42-yard line. A 39-yard punt and good field position now for Ottawa. Down by 12 with 8:50 to go in the 3rd quarter. Darrell Walker has become a big part of the Toronto attack the last couple of weeks. Just missed here. Ottawa has the football back. He became a first-time dad on Monday. On Tuesday was named Ottawa's starting quarterback for this week. Anthony Jenny with more on Jonathan Jennings.
Yeah, well, Gord, when he told us about the new child in his life, that he had to deal with a lot of sleep that he wasn't getting, and obviously appreciates what his wife is going through. But in particular, what we're noticing about Jonathan Jennings is his relationship with Joe Paopao, and that relationship is growing because Paopao, and all of his experience in dealing with Damon Allen and Doug Flutie and Danny McManus, has said it's about confidence, and confidence is so key with a quarterback who has been with as many offensive coordinators as Jonathan Jennings has been with. It's all about understanding that the conversation that you have to have with him is showing him what in the playbook has to work.
Look out. That almost didn't work in the playbook. Bear Woods and Jennings diving for the football simultaneously, and Jennings got it back on the missed handoff with Moses Madu. It's a loss of 3.
Well, you're never quite sure when a team has changed up some aspects of its scheme as Ottawa has. You've got different quarterback in there, different running back. John Crockett has played a little bit more than Moses Madu this season. If there may be a little bit of a timing or communication issue with the mesh.
2nd and 13 now for Ottawa from the Toronto 45. Here comes the rush. Jennings fires, and the pass is caught by Rhymes. Dominic Rhymes, a first down and more inside the 25. Down to the 24-yard line, a gain of 21 yards.
Dominic Rhymes is a guy who's been around this Red Blacks team for the last couple of seasons, and one who they looked at kind of step into a bigger role with the departures of Greg Ellingson, Deontay Spencer, following the 2018 season. You know, I would say overall in terms of production, Rhymes responding, but maybe not quite with the consistency that they hope he'll eventually develop.
Madu is brought down right away on the tackle by Toronto's Freddie Bishop. No gain in the play. Actually, maybe a loss of a yard. Brings up 2nd and 11. Ottawa trying to get some traction here this afternoon. Ottawa in BC next week, then back here against the Lions the week after that. Here comes the rush, and Jennings is dropped. Coming in unblocked was Robbie Smith for Toronto, and the loss is 10.
Well, second time today, Robbie Smith. The rookie has found his way home.
So that'll bring up a 42-yard field goal try for Lewis Ward, who has missed just once this season. Lots on that, and it's good. Ottawa back within 9, but the Toronto defense stiffening here in the second half. Turns in a big touchdown and a fumble recovery, and now the sack here. And the Argos lead by 9 with 6:15 to go in the third quarter.
Freshman Year, the debut full-length album from the Redblacks featuring the brand new single Old Country Soul. Listen now on Apple Music.
On Family Day here in Ottawa, Toronto has a 9-point lead and the football back at its 35-yard line. Bethel Thompson throws, and the pass is caught by S.J. Green after the 51-yard line.
Well, again, all observers of the Toronto Argonauts kind of waiting to see if this team can overcome its second half struggles, waiting to see if the bottom is going to fall out here, so to speak. And McLeod, Bethel Thompson, the rest of this group looking to prove the doubters wrong.
Fires again, Green the catch again, inside Ottawa territory, still running down to the 45-yard line. And a gain of 15 yards, another Toronto first down.
Well, S.J. Green demonstrating he's still got it. Quick slant from the veteran receiver. And a couple of nice shakes here to pick up some extra yards.
Toronto has 4 straight games of 400-plus total offense against Ottawa. And rolling them up here this afternoon. Give to Rainey on first down. He slips through. Another first down for Toronto down to the 30-yard line. Rainey picks up 15 yards. And once again, the Argos move the sticks.
A nice burst from Chris Rainey. Again, when you've got one of the fastest guys in the game, you want to find ways outside of special teams to put the ball in his hands.
First down Argos at the Ottawa 30-yard line. Bethel Thompson slings it underneath. Rodney Smith the catch. Gets away from the first man and should have enough for a first down as he dances out of bounds at the 19-yard line. Now some pushing and shoving breaks out. That's nothing compared to what we saw last week at Labor Day between Toronto and Hamilton when players not in uniform were getting involved in the fracas.
Love taps by comparison. I want you to take a look here at the work of Chris Rainey. We talk all the time about what this guy does with the football in his hands. Nice job right here, reading the twist between the linebackers, picking up the blitz, taking down Avery Williams, allowing McLeod Bethel Thompson time to get that pass away to Rodney Smith.
First down Toronto from the Ottawa 19-yard line. And once again underneath there is Smith the catch, and he gets down about the 13-yard line for a gain of 6. A very impressive march so far for Toronto.
Yeah, Argonauts chipping away, doing a nice job. this particular possession. Rodney Smith, who's had a monster day in Moncton against Montreal, particularly in the first half of that ball game.
On second down, here comes the rush, and Bethel Thompson lost the football. It's picked up by Ottawa. George Uko, who had an interception in the first half, has a fumble recovery here in the second. And Toronto is turned away by this Ottawa defense. Turnovers were the big story here this afternoon. And the latest big one is forced by Ottawa. The big man, George Uko. Interception, fumble recovery. And Ottawa has the football back, trying to chip away at this lead.
Well, two different rush routes by the Ottawa defensive ends. Avery Ellis goes inside. J.R. Tavai takes a speed rush, gets underneath Jamal Campbell to the outside. But the two of them end up at the same point, meeting at the quarterback. Just as McLeod Bethel Thompson gets ready to he's trying to throw that football away. He knows they're on him. That leads to the fumble. George Uko collects his second turnover of the ball game.
Uko, the second-year man out of USC. Interception and fumble recovery.
Making his presence felt.
That one I got to way to move it out here.
If he gets a sack, is there some kind of hat trick? Like a football hat trick?
What would we call that? Like a Grover Covington hat trick or something?
I was in the block. I said, I'm tired.
George
Uko.
Back home, what's up with you? How y'all doing? TPA, you know we do this thing.
Now first down Ottawa from his 41-yard line. Down by 9, 3:22 to go in the third quarter. Jennings. As Aruma throws for Sinopoli, and Sinopoli out of bounds at the 48-yard line for a gain of 6.
Well, mixing up protections here. Watch the running back, Moses Madu. He's going to motion to the outside. And his responsibility is to pick up that defensive end. He does a nice job allowing Jonathan Jennings to contain. You got to do some creative things. Mix up your looks a little bit in order to move the pocket the way Ottawa is doing. That time it was R.J. Harris coming underneath with a bit of a run fake to hold the D-line inside and set up that block.
He throws, batted down at the line of scrimmage.
Davon Coleman.
Well, Coleman got a hand on that. And once again, it's third down for Ottawa. The midfield stripe looks like a wall right now for Ottawa.
I mean, they're really the only time they scored points, the drive started on the Toronto side of midfield here in the second half.
Now Rainey back to receive the kick from Leone. Rainey from his 23-yard line. 41-yard punt. And a return of 3, so McLeod Bethel Thompson and the Toronto offense go back to work. The Argos are 1-9 on the year, but when you hear from Bethel Thompson, he's pretty confident about this offense.
I love to throw the ball at the same time, and I don't think there's a DB in this league that has a chance when my 5 guys are running downfield, the guys we have starting. So I don't think there's a defense that can stop us when the ball's in my hands, but we also know that we need balance to efficiently dissect a defense. So, and we have James Wilder, so we have a great asset in that way, and we hopefully get him going early and often.
Swing out to Smith, and Smith around the corner.
It all starts with belief.
It does. You got to admire the bravado. I mean, the Argos have literally run out of ways to lose games. Stepping on the end line to surrender points.
In a field with short end zones.
In a field with short end zones. Turnovers, missed passes in the end zone, bad penalties. Every team that's off to a bad start feels it deserves a better fate. Bethel Thompson throws. S.J. Green has it for a first down to the 41. The Argos, as we mentioned, are 1-9. They haven't lost 10 of their first 11 since 1981. They were 0-11 that year. This 1-9 start is their worst since 1993.
It's not pretty. No, it's not pretty. Remember, after that 81 season, I believe Bobo Bilovic took over in 82 as the head coach.
The Argos went to the Grey Cup that year.
In Toronto, lost to Edmonton. I was at that game.
And won it the next year, right?
That's right.
In BC.
Yeah. 82 Grey Cup was the first one that I attended as a fan.
It was a pretty cold day at Exhibition Stadium, as I recall.
A little chilly.
So second down for the Argos from their 41-yard line. Four receivers to the wide side. Bethel Thompson throws. S.J. Green's got a first down to Ottawa territory to the 50-yard line. Gain of 15 yards.
Well, from what we're seeing so far here in the third quarter, the Toronto Argonauts seem to be listening to the message about playing 60 minutes through the second half.
S.J. Green, by the way, now in the top 20 in receiving yards on a career, passing Rocky DiPietro. Bethel Thompson throws. Walker's got the catch. And he's prevented from getting any further by Chris Randall. But the gain is 15. Another Toronto first down to the Ottawa 35-yard line.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people will sort of have raised eyebrows. We had the clip from McLeod Bethel Thompson moments ago where he talked about the Toronto offense and his belief. He has been very consistent as we've talked to him through the year from sort of week one that he has said he believes this offense can be.
Wilder gets 4 down to the 31-yard line as time runs out here in the third quarter. Toronto leads it 25-16. Trying to pick up its second win of the year against an Ottawa team that's lost 3 in a row and 7 of the last 8. The fourth quarter coming up on the first of our triple header here in the CFL on TSN. The numbers through 3 quarters favor the Toronto Argonauts, who are closing in on 400 net yards again against Ottawa. 3 turnovers apiece, and in that third quarter, 109 yards for Toronto, just 53 for Ottawa. Gord Miller back here with Dwayne Ford. The marriage of good offensive play and some timely turnovers may have the Argos in business. Can they convert this time?
Well, so far so good, right? I mean, the last couple of games, it seems like halftime was that turning point for the Argos. Good first half, almost instantly bad in the second half. They've made it through 3 quarters here today, and I think you might be able to make a case for the third quarter as their best so far in this football game. Now just a need to finish strong.
Second down from the 31-yard line. Bethel Thompson throws. S.J. Green juggles it. He's got the catch. Down to the 10-yard line for a first down and a gain of 26.
S.J. Green, we mentioned minutes ago, into the top 20 in career receiving. Tony Gabriel up next on the list.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know how that would go if S.J. managed to have a monstrous fourth quarter and pass Tony Gabriel during a game here in Ottawa.
The game was 21. First down just outside the 10. Bethel Thompson for James Wilder to the end zone. Touchdown. And a very impressive march by the Toronto Argonauts. They open the fourth quarter with a touchdown. Have a 15-point lead with a point after to come.
There you go. Well, for a team that you may have doubted their confidence playing in the second half of a football game, thought they might be a little nervous, it's sure not showing. Bethel Thompson leading the way.
Well, McLeod Bethel Thompson leads the league in passing touchdowns. The Argos lead that category. We mentioned they're number 2 in yards per game since August 1st. So the offense the last 6-7 weeks has been very good for Toronto. Now a chance of making a 16-point lead here in the fourth quarter. Heard Bear Wood, we got to put it to him here in the fourth quarter. That's been the problem for Toronto, is putting opponents away.
Yes, sir.
Sapina for the point after. And it is good. And it's now a 32-16 lead. That was an 8-play, 83-yard touchdown drive by Toronto.
Get Wilder, go Argos. Now let Evan Carter come. Daddy love you. Love you, Miss Wilder, too.
It always takes a level of consistency to put together drives like that, particularly to do it repeatedly over the course of the game. And the Toronto Argonauts, for a one-win football team, are showing something here.
Right. 14 straight losses on the road. They were 0-9 away from home last year. If they can't bring this one home, might be time to bring in an army of team psychologists.
Battling an Ottawa team that has faced its own confidence issues this year.
Right. Jim Bob, the general manager, on the sidelines. Ottawa coming off a bye week. Toronto goes into the bye next week. Here is Logan inside his 10-yard line. Logan finds a seam, gets up the sidelines, and is pushed out of bounds at the 45-yard line. A return of 34 yards. And Ottawa with good field position here, but a big hill to climb early in this fourth quarter.
Well, again, Ottawa put together a scoring drive in the third quarter that started with a short field. That great advantage Steph Logan gave them a terrific punt return. Pretty good field position to start this one off. Let's see what Jennings and the Ottawa O can do with it.
Jennings fires. The pass is caught by Rhymes into Toronto territory and out of bounds at the 50-yard line. A gain of 15. And Dominic Rhymes has emerged as the key threat for Ottawa here.
Yeah, and again, he comes into this game as Ottawa's leading receiver. Having a pretty good afternoon here today. Jonathan Jennings, again, for some ups and downs, but I think for the most part, looking very comfortable, very poised.
Swinging out to Manu, and Bear Wood steps into him. No gain after the 50-yard line.
Well, Bear Woods, as I mentioned, coming on the roster, making his 2019 debut here today. Micah Awe, who'd been part of that linebacking core all season, the former BC Lion, went on the 6-game injured list. Upper body injury for him.
Jennings stands in, drops it off for Madu, and once again, Wood steps into him. Limits the gain to 5, and it's third down Ottawa. It'll be a field goal try once again, this time from 52 yards out.
And here the ISO on Bear Woods.
Well, you mentioned the injury problems that have dogged him the last couple of years, but when healthy, he's been a dominant defensive player.
Continues demonstrating he's a guy who's still capable of playing at a high level.
So the 52-yard try from Lewis Ward. Low line drive, wide to left. Rainey did. I think he wanted to bring it up, was told not to. He kind of threw the ball down in disgust.
Oh, looked a little frustrated. A longer kick, low trajectory. I think he felt he might have an opportunity to get going the other way.
S.J. Green now top 20 in CFL career receiving yards, adding to his totals here this afternoon with the Argos up by 15. Argos have the lead in the football. Here's Matthew Shinetti with more from the sidelines.
Well, Gord and Dwayne, you were talking about McLeod Bethel-Thompson's bravado. He is also a bit philosophical as well. We know that. But the one thing that he keeps telling us is that as he is growing into this starter's role, he's becoming more confident, and we're seeing a little bit more of him on the sidelines. Case in point, while there was an ISO on James Wilder Jr., McLeod Bethel-Thompson went up to all of his teammates, Wilder included, and said, it's time to put our foot on their throats. This is not uncharacteristic of MBT, who typically on the sidelines loves to shout really aggressively at his teammates to try to get them going. Those Argos, though, have told me that's exactly the way they want MBT to be, guys.
Over 300 yards passing already from Bethel-Thompson. Gives it off to Darrell Walker, a first down at the Ottawa 51-yard line, a gain of 14 yards.
Well, Bethel-Thompson comes across certainly as a guy that teammates would be willing to follow. You know, and is developing some of that. You know, I mean, as he kind of builds his resume, finding some success as a CFL quarterback, that'll just grow.
Give to Wilder. He gets wrapped up by Avery Williams and picks up a gain of a couple.
There you see the comparison between MBT's first 4 starts of the season versus his last 4.
Picked off twice today.
Yeah, but that touchdown to interception ratio has been the most noticeable.
Here comes the blitz. And Bethel-Thompson gets it away for Walker. A flag comes down on the coverage as Walker got spun around there. He's tangled up with Chris Randall. And it's pass interference coming.
Defensive pass interference, Ottawa. Number 7. Spot a foul. Automatic. First down.
Well, that's a big penalty against Ottawa as it moves Toronto down inside the 40 to the 35-yard line.
And here you'll get a close-up look at it. You know, we talked earlier about Randall wanting to be physical with Darrell Walker. That time Walker kind of shook him and Randall needed to hold on.
Fresh set of downs for Toronto. And good field position at the Ottawa 35. Bethel-Thompson looking over the head of Rod Smith. That pass goes incomplete. Brings up second down.
I'm not sure whether that was an intentional throwaway or not, as he may have felt the pocket closing in on him a little bit.
Bethel-Thompson, a 31-year-old, played at Sacramento State. Draw play for Wilder. Got blockers in front of him. A flag comes down. Wilder gets down to the 20-yard line. That's good for a first down, pending the flag.
Yeah, I suspect this may go against Toronto for kind of a peel-back block.
Front runner. You a front runner, 32?
It is against Toronto.
Major foul. Blindside block. Toronto, number 81. 15-yard penalty. Remains second down.
Yeah, so it's Rodney Smith that's called for the blindside block.
Take a look right here at Rodney Smith. As Wilder cuts to the outside, he's going to go looking for someone. And you see gets a shot on Kevin Brown at linebacker.
So it moves the Argos all the way back to their own 50-yard line on the major foul.
Yeah, again, it's that block coming back towards your own goal line.
Second and a whole bunch. Bethel-Thompson got whacked, throws, the pass is caught, and S.J. Green has a first down. They're going to mark him down to the 25-yard line. The pickup is 25 yards. Bethel-Thompson took a whack at the end of that play, but Toronto gets a big first down.
And SJ's big day continues here in Ottawa. You know, you've seen a couple times in the course of this football game You sometimes forget how big a guy McLeod Bethel Thompson is.
Here comes the blitz again, and the screen pass is called for Wilder. And James Wilder will walk into the end zone for a touchdown. The perfect play call for the blitz. And the Argos extend their lead.
There was not even anyone there for the offensive line to block after the ball was thrown to James Wilder Jr.
Well, Ottawa showed blitz. Toronto ran the screen, and the result is an easy walk-in touchdown for Toronto.
Yeah, you see all the Ottawa players up at the line of scrimmage. Nobody left on the back end.
A 7-play, 65-yard drive despite the 15-yard penalty. And the Argos' impressive afternoon continued.
That's over. I got more for you, Bear.
So James Wilder Jr. takes the screen pass, has the convoy he didn't need. Toronto's over 400 net yards again, and now leads 39-17.
Those Toronto Argonauts put together yet another second half touchdown drive. Again, mixing it up between run and pass, spreading it around to a number of different receivers.
This is the big one. The second down catch. F.J. Green, 251 second down catches in his career, the most on record. And then Wilder walks in. McLeod Bethel Thompson out 403 yards passing. The second time he's cracked 400 yards in his career. His career high came a couple of weeks ago against Montreal, 464 yards. So he's lighting it up. And the Argos lead 39-17 with 9.5 to go in the fourth quarter. Here is Logan from the 5-yard line. Can he provide the spark? Gets out to about the 30.
Well, it's kind of now or never for Jonathan Jennings and the Ottawa REDBLACKS in this ball game. Again, you would never know that this is an Argonaut team that has had the second half as its greatest weakness.
Well, such critical plays here. You know, Kadarius Ford with the fumble recovery for a touchdown in the opening moments of the third quarter really set the tone.
Yeah, I mean, taking advantage of turnovers is one of those pieces that had been missing, right? They were generating them, but not having anything to show for them on the scoreboard.
Jennings throws it up with a catch after the 49-yard line. A gain of 20.
Terrific catch right here by Brad Sinopoli.
On first down, Jennings to the sidelines, and Rhymes has it out of bounds at the Toronto 52-yard line. Gain is 8.
And I think the big thing for Toronto right now is to make sure that they don't become too passive. You know, don't sit back and try to avoid the big play necessarily. Just continue doing what you're doing and get after it.
Madu on the first down. The second down carry rather has the first down. Picks up 6 on the play. Now the Toronto 46-yard line. Don't forget, still to come today, the second half of the Labor Day back-to-backs. We've got Winnipeg home to Saskatchewan, Edmonton home to Calgary, and also at 4 o'clock Eastern, Bianca Andreescu in the final of the U.S. Open. That pass ball's incomplete.
It's a heck of a day in Canadian sports.
It really is something. Second down Ottawa from the Toronto 46. It has been a trying first year for Corey Chamberlain as a head coach in Toronto.
A little question, a lot of frustration for all involved, the way things have unfolded thus far in 2019.
Ottawa, number 3, 5-yard penalty. Remains second down.
The tough situation gets a little bit tougher for the REDBLACKS.
Now 2nd and 15. 8 to go in the fourth quarter.
Heads up, please. Come on, sir. Come on, Robbie.
James under pressure, drops it off for Rhymes, and Bearwood's a terrific open field tackle. Limits the game to 5, and Ottawa will have to kick.
Well, there may have been a plan today for the Argos to kind of help Bearwoods ease back into game shape, playing situationally, but he's ended up playing a lot of snaps. Justin Herdman-Reed.
And Ottawa will not kick. It'll be a 3rd and 11 gamble here. Jennings under pressure. Underneath for Rhymes, a long way to go, and look who's got him. Woods in there along with Ian Wild. It'll be a turnover on downs for Ottawa. And Toronto, look out now. Rhymes and Green are into it. Bearwoods back in the lineup for the Argonauts, who have been impressive in all 3 phases of the game, with a 39-17 lead here in the 4th quarter. Well, you might as well have a cold one if you're an Ottawa fan, because it's been a long afternoon for the home team. And the Toronto Argonauts are trying to win their first road game since the end of the 2017 season. On first down. Rain of the carry gets maybe a yard.
We'll see if the Argos look to go slightly more conservative here and keep that clock running.
Don't get frustrated.
This ain't Pee Wee football. Get the cameras off the sideline.
Let me play mad. I'm going to stay mad.
Here's got his game face on. Let him stay mad. By the way, Toronto's last road win, theoretically, was here in the Grey Cup in 2017. The last regular season road win came at the end of that regular season in BC against the Lions. But since then, 0-9 last year, 0-5 on the road to start this year.
Turning point.
There it is.
Yeah, I mean, it's an uphill battle in the East, obviously, with the way that Montreal has played, collecting another win last night. The way Hamilton's played.
Yeah, Toronto's got the bye next week, but then home to Calgary, home to Saskatchewan. Back-to-back weeks.
Yes, and I think most people already are conceding the crossover, the way those top 4 in the West have played so far. But, I mean, they've got to face each other a little bit as well.
Pepper sends it down to Logan just outside the 10-yard line. Flag comes down, and Logan off and running. Pepper got belted down, another flag down. 4 flags are down, 5 now. Logan's still going. And dives for the end zone. It's a touchdown. Now the odds are pretty good that at least one of the 5 flags down on the field will bring this back. I don't think I've ever seen this.
Well, some of these flags, I think, are going to be because the Argos' backup quarterback and special teams player, Dakota Prukop, lost his helmet during the play and kept playing with no helmet. He actually got dumped maybe on the back of his head as the play continued.
There was a block on the kicker, Ronnie Pepper, that seemed to draw a flag. Logan, after the return, is down. So this is going to take some time to sort out. First of all, the officials have to retrieve all the laundry.
A bit of a yard sale out there.
But it would appear that the return is coming back.
So keep an eye here. Left edge of the screen at the very back. This is where Prukop loses his helmet. He continues playing. And then here you see him, bottom of the screen. Watch how hard he goes down here with no lid on, which is why you don't play without a helmet.
Would make sense. So now we got a huddle of the officials. The Ottawa offense is on the field.
I know Steph Logan, who was out of the game for a few weeks after being released by Montreal before he was picked up by Ottawa. He was watching all those kick return touchdowns and no doubt wanted to get his piece of the action.
Here's the calls.
This could take a while.
Al's got the notepad out.
See if he turns the page halfway through.
Right now the ball is being spotted at the Ottawa 12-yard line.
The suspense is killing me, Gord.
If there's 5 fouls on one play, that's got to be the record.
There's got to be some overlap. Come on, Al.
You'd have to think. Okay, here's the call. We think.
We think.
There are a number of penalties on this play. Illegal participation. Toronto, number 9, continued play with his helmet off. During the return, illegal block. Ottawa, number 7. Also, major foul, blindside block. Ottawa, number 91. All the penalties will be enforced where the ball was caught. Half distance back. First down, Ottawa.
So that was the illegal block, I think, on Peffer. So the ball will be spotted at the Ottawa 6-yard line and negates the touchdown return for Logan. So just 3 fouls in that play.
It's a little bit of a letdown, right? My expectations there had really built up.
Jennings drops it off for Madu. And Madu lost the football. And the Argos pounce on that. That's Rob Woodson, and that is Argo football. And the 5th turnover of the game for Ottawa.
And I think the Bear was in the middle of that one, too.
He's really been something this afternoon, hasn't he?
Well, and again, getting a bigger opportunity to play in his first game back because Justin Herdman-Reed got hurt. He's got his arm in a sling on the sidelines. And here you see Madu goes into contact. Bear Woods in there, along with Abdul Kenna. Let's make sure that ball's out before his knee touched down.
So now first down for the Argos from the Ottawa 13-yard line. A 5th consecutive game against Ottawa in which Toronto's put up more than 400 total yards. Bethel Thompson down for Smith. In a battle on the sidelines, he's thrown out of bounds by Anthony Chiaffi.
Well, Smith able to battle for a couple of yards here. Ottawa defense.
I was telling him, I don't know what I got. Let's just get this dub so we can get it right.
Here's Wilder on the carry, dives towards the goal line, touchdown. Second touchdown of the afternoon for Wilder. And the Argos are up to 45 points. This has been as one-sided a second half for the Argos as they've had against them the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, it certainly is. Whatever the message was about playing 60 minutes.
Third TD for Wilder, by the way.
Appears to have gotten through loud and clear. Good hard run from James Wilder. Scoring, battling his way into the end zone.
And a point after to go. And the second half score is 28-4.
We're going to get back again. I got another one for y'all.
Wilder's got 3 touchdowns. And the Toronto Argonauts have a 29-point lead, 46-17.
Impressive. I mean, not only did they maintain their performance into the second half, they've kicked it up a notch here.
We talked about it against Montreal, got outscored 22-6. Against Hamilton, 27-3. But here, they extend a 5-point lead with a 28-4 second half.
Yeah, complete turnaround from the last couple of weeks.
And you know what? It can't be overstated how important it is to go to a bye week off a win.
Amen to that. Nothing like stewing on a loss for 2 weeks.
Or in their case, 10 of them.
Yeah.
If that had been the case. So it looks as though Ottawa will drop to 3-8. Toronto will improve to 2-9.
Behind the mic thing.
And here is Logan on the return. Had one negated a moment ago. And Woodson brings him down to the 43. So Toronto will go to a bye. And Ottawa will go into a home and home against the BC Lions.
Well, and this brings a change at quarterback for the Ottawa REDBLACKS. Will Arndt into the game.
26-year-old out of Western Connecticut State, his second year with Ottawa.
Good opportunity to get the young guy some reps.
Swings it out for Manu. Abdul Kenna and Bear Woods there on the stop. Man, Bear Woods has just been all over the football here in the second half.
Well, he's just trying to make up for lost time out there. Racking up tackles. You think this guy missed the game? Seems to be in the middle of every play.
It's a kid's game.
Don't get too close. You might bite. Arndt throws. And the pass is caught by Nate Bahar. He comes up limping. And we've reached the 3-minute warning in Ottawa. The Toronto Argonauts having things their way here in the second half. A 46-17 lead in the nation's capital.
Coming up in just a few minutes, it's the Banjo Bowl in Winnipeg and the rematch between the Saskatchewan Roughriders and the Blue Bombers for first place in the West. We'll head there momentarily on TSN's 1 and 3. Back for the conclusion in Ottawa to Gord Miller and Dwayne Ford.
Millard, a quarterback on 3rd and short, gives it off, and that should be enough, is it, for Ottawa for a first down? Going to be close. And a flag, 2 flags come down at the end of that play.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of discussion going on down there. I suspect some off-color language contributing to the penalty calls. Meanwhile, looking forward to the 2 games coming up, Gord. The Banjo Bowl should be a great tilt. And of course, the Battle of Alberta.
The ball is right at the first down marker. The flags came down after the gain was made.
back 5. No end, Ottawa. 5-yard penalty. Repeat, 3rd down.
There has been no end to the troubles for Ottawa here in the second half. So now it's 3rd and 6. And Richie Leone will come on to punt.
Well, a game that started with such promise for the Red Blacks, who came out and scored in their opening drive of this football game.
A lot of folks in the field there. The Argos get their punt return team on in time. Here's Rainey. And goes out of the 12-yard line. This is a 10-3 game for Ottawa in the first quarter. And time now for the Nissan Titan player of the game, brought to you by the Nissan Titan, ranked #1 in quality by JT Power.
Well, a guy who has led the Toronto Argonauts by example throughout this football game. Always a positive attitude, belief in his teammates, and putting up big numbers. 26 of 39, completing 2/3 of his passes. Second 400-yard game of the season. 3 touchdown passes from McLeod. Bethel Thompson, our Nissan Titan player of the game.
Gives it out to James Franklin, a quarterback, inside 3 to go here in the 4th quarter.
You've kind of seen it coming from McLeod. Bethel Thompson. Again, we talked about his improved numbers over the course of the last month. Came into this one on a 4-game stretch in which he had thrown 9 touchdown passes and no interceptions. A couple of picks today. Wasn't perfect, but again, a big day for this guy, and particularly a big second half.
Franklin throws, and the pass falls incomplete. Looking for Armani Edwards, and Toronto will have to punt.
Well, a good opportunity for the Argos to get James Franklin some repetitions, regardless of what their plan is as a team going forward. Again, heard Matthew earlier in the game talk about the possibility that with 3 veteran quarterbacks, that being Bethel Thompson, Franklin, and Zach Collaros, that it could potentially have trade chips there. His teams look for a little bit of insurance, playoff-bound teams down the stretch.
Logan takes the punt right at midfield. Gets a block around the corner. And Logan goes out of bounds at about the 30-yard line. Return of 27 yards.
Again, from an Ottawa point of view, as you talk about backup quarterbacks and the value of some game time reps for Will Arndt, the young guy, you see his numbers on the season and very limited action, 8 attempts so far, but you know, a guy who's been with the team now into his 2nd year, that you want to get some game film evaluation of what you have going forward. Chance for him to continue his development as well.
Flags are down. And Arndt dives down to the 23-yard line for a gain of 7. So the Toronto Argonauts will end a 14-game road losing streak. Pick up their 2nd win of the year. Ottawa will drop its 4th in a row and 8th in its last 9 games.
Holding, Ottawa. 10-yard penalty. Remains first down.
Ottawa began the year 2-0. But since then, it has been a struggle.
It certainly has. You know, I know a lot of people were anticipating that, you know, that there would be a bit of a steep curve for Ottawa this year with a lot of departures in the offseason.
But you look at Ottawa's schedule, they come out of the bye week, they're looking at their next 3 games against 2 teams that are combined 2-18 on the year.
Yeah, that's kind of what they thought coming into today.
Right. Still got back-to-back against the BC Lions, who are 1-10 on the year. But you got to go there, which is never easy.
Yeah, and I have said throughout this year, I mean, regardless of what the records are of some of the teams at the bottom of the standings, I think you are closer to parity than you've been in a number of years in the Canadian Football League. I think that teams like Toronto and BC, while they're not where they want to be, are better football teams than their records alone would indicate. That within games, they're competitive football teams.
All right, drops it off. And Madu gets down to the 22-yard line. Will be a couple of yards short of a first down. Will bring up 3rd and about 3.
Moses Madu continuing to run hard despite the inevitable outcome here for his team.
Winnipeg, Saskatchewan on deck coming up moments from now. Bianca Andreescu in the women's final of the U.S. Open. Coming as well on a big afternoon here on TSN. Arm throws, and that pass is caught. R.J. Harris gets a first down to the 5-yard line, a pickup of 17.
Looking ahead to that Calgary-Edmonton game as well. Live mic game, back-to-back live mic games between those teams. It'd be interesting to see if the teams have changed up much of their terminology, etc., given the situation. Be a cool one to listen in on.
On first down from the 5, Arndt to the end zone, incomplete for Manu. Well, you think about 2 misses for Ottawa in the first half. A wide open R.J. Harris overthrown. Madu in the end zone overthrown. A chance to extend what was then a lead. Got away from Ottawa.
Well, and an interception in the end zone in the first half as well. I mean, there were definitely some points left out there for the Red Blacks that from just a momentum point of view within the course of this ball game, I mean, they could have had the lead at halftime.
Pump fake has to pull it back down. He's dropped on the play. Taken down by Freddie Bishop, and referee Hal Bradbury has to back him off a little bit. Brings up 3rd down now for Ottawa. And now back to the 11-yard line. The rush, Arndt is under pressure. Heaves that towards the goal line, and it is a simultaneous catch. And fine, it looks like Ottawa's Jacob Scarfone pulled it out, but it'll be short of the goal line. It'll be another turnover on downs by Ottawa to end the football game. And the Toronto Argonauts win it by a final score of 46-17, snapping a 14-game road losing streak, improving their record to 2-9 as Ottawa falls to 3-8 with its 4th consecutive loss. For Dwayne Ford, I'm Gord Miller in Ottawa. Now back to Rod Smith in the studio.
All right, thank you, Gord. Back with Henry.